everyone here is ready to hear from you.
Okay, good. That's good. Well, thank you very much. And I have to say, with Bob, we became good friends. I didn't know him before the White House, but I got to know him, and he represented Hispanics. He represented a lot of people having to do with manufacturing, business. He's a great businessman. And he had a very interesting situation. The radical left in our country put tremendous pressure on him not to be involved with us, meaning Republicans or conservatives, whatever, people with common sense, I always say, because essentially we're the party of common sense, which becomes a better and better term as time goes by, with men playing in women's sports and open borders and people coming into our country totally unvetted and unchecked and all of the ridiculous things that you see today. But we are the party of common sense. So Bob has a lot of common sense, and he has a great company. It's a great company, but they were putting a lot of pressure, and I felt very badly for him because they were hitting him hard. They had pickets, they had everything. They were trying to extort him, essentially, and we found out he can't be extorted, and he fought very hard. And then a strange thing happened. A strange thing, his numbers went through the roof. He was selling much more food instead of less food. And they do that. They play that game. It's probably not even legal what they do, but they go after businesses. And not everybody's like Bob, where they're in a position to fight. But his company went absolutely through the roof because of it, because there's tremendous support. We have far more people, far more support than the other side. And really the term "Make America Great Again," we are the party of wanting to make America great again. Right now we have a country it's a nation in decline. We're sadly a declining nation, and who would have thought we would have had to say that? But if you look at our borders, they're horrible. They're just, I probably won in 2016 because of the border. I fixed it very quickly, became very, very good, and turned over a great border, and they just destroyed it. From the moment, I always say that my world's favorite chart, the chart I look to the right on, but that was basically a chart on immigration, and that was the lowest immigration we'd had in forever, I think, in recorded history. And then that was my last day in office, and then it became like a rocket ship, that chart, and it went up to the moon. It was very sad to see all the work that we did, but we'll do it again. The only difference is this is many, many times worse than it was in 2016, Bob. In 2016, we had something that was within reason. We didn't have people with no talent, no brain power, people with that maybe hate our country in a certain way, because you try and figure why would they want prisoners, gang members, drug dealers? Why would they want murderers, by the way, 13,099 murderers? Why would they want these people in our country? Is there any reason for it? You know, usually when Bob or I or some of the good business people around the table, and in the audience I know a couple of great ones. We have Wesley Hunt, a great congressman, by the way. Thank you, Wesley. A great one. He's a great congressman. But we always say, you know, we want to know what the other side is all about. Where are they coming from? This is one of the few times you really say, what are they doing? Where do we benefit? And I guess, you know, you look at it and you say they're not smart, but they're smart, they're cunning, and a lot of them are evil. But you say that maybe they hate our country. I believe they could be some of that, because, you know, when you allow drug lords to come into our country, when you allow the people that they're allowing, and by the way, they're emptying prisons out all over the world. This is no longer South America. This is the entire world. From Africa they come, from Asia they come, the Middle East, South America, yes, but it's not exclusive South America. This is all over the world. The Congo, we have a lot of people coming in from the Congo in Africa, and it's incredible. But you just say, why? Why are they doing it? And it has to be evil intention. And then you realize that so many other things that they do, like transgender operations, where prisoners, people that are being held as prisoners, if they request a transgender operation, they get it. Now, who would even believe this is possible? And she was one of the ones, Kamala, we don't have to talk about Joe because Joe was overthrown. He was overthrown as president of the United States. First time that's happened. We call it a coup. I just say he was just overthrown. It's simpler. People say, what's a coup? A coup is you were overthrown. And I believe he likes me more than Kamala. But, you know, what do I know? How would I know that? But I think he likes me actually a little bit, about this much more than her. But they're having a lot of fighting going on. And they asked her a question the other day on one of these ridiculous shows. And they said, well, what would you have done different? What would you have done differently? You know, she complains what she's going to do, what she's going to do. And I always say, why didn't she do it? It's so easy. You just sit back. Why didn't you do it? You had almost 4 years to do it. But she's worse than Biden, I'm telling you. He's more intelligent than her. Can you believe this? Can you believe? Okay? And it's not that I'm a fan, but I think what happened to him was terrible. He had 14 million votes. She came in last because she was the first one to drop out of the race. She dropped out. There were like 22 people, and she dropped out. And it's a terrible thing. I mean, you talk about a threat to democracy. That's a threat to democracy. But the biggest threat to democracy is incompetence. And we have incompetent people leading our country, and we have problems other than borders. We have the biggest problem is probably the possibility of World War III, and that would be a war like no other with all of the weaponry that you have today. You have weapons the likes of which this world has never seen before. So we have people leading us that are not the right people. And, you know, we had no wars. I finished off ISIS. We had the best economy ever. We did great. And for the Hispanic Americans, because that's why we're here, I want to just say household income for Hispanic Americans. I asked them, give me some of the just basics, reached an all-time high. So your household income was the highest it ever was. The Hispanic American poverty hit the lowest rate ever. So the lowest rate of poverty, the highest rate of income. So far we're doing good, right? That's not bad. After that, what else? You almost don't have to say anything more. The household wealth of the median Hispanic family grew by 65%. Think of that one. Home ownership among Hispanic Americans reached the highest level ever by far. And we cut taxes and regulations for Hispanic-owned small businesses and people. And now we did this for everybody, and everybody did better, but Hispanic Americans did just right at the top. Now, let me tell you what is happening at the border, because it's affecting you probably more than anybody else. African Americans, Hispanic Americans, people are pouring in and taking your jobs. And your jobs are being taken, and that's all because of Kamala and Biden. And really, in this case, her, because he put her in charge of the border, and then it was 4 o'clock and he went home and went to sleep. You know, that was it. He made her the border czar, right? Now she says she wasn't the border czar. And they come out with different excuses, and because there's no excuse for this. We have the worst border in the history of the world. There's never been a border in the history of the world like this. If it was a third world country, because they had no border like this, because they'd fight them off with sticks and stones if they had to. This is the worst ever in the history of the world, and we had the best ever in this country's history, and we had a strong border. We had great people. Tom Homan was one of my advisors, and Brandon Judd was unbelievable. And we have people today that are great. And, you know, the amazing thing, they want to do their job. They really want. It's easier for them not to do their job, I assume, but they want to do the job. They see what's coming in and what's happening. But you heard the numbers from think of that family income, median 65% increase. Who ever heard of a number like that? But it's being taken away from you by them because of the border, because people are going to come in and they're going to take your job, and that's what they're doing, and that's what's happening. And if you look at the numbers today, the numbers are way down from where they were. And for the African-American community, it's actually a step even worse. So I just want to let you know, and that's the way it is. She caused a tremendous inflation, $29,000 per family. Kamala launched a massive IRS initiative to take more tip money away. You know, no tax, right, on tips. And that was a big deal. And then she goes out a few weeks later, maybe a few months later, and she said, I have a surprise for you, no tax on tips. We sent her a MAGA cap. But she won't, remember, she won't be able to do it. Just like they were unable to fulfill, they were, for 4 years, they said, we're going to cut the tuition, the debt on colleges and schools and all of this. We're going to cut the debt, student loans, we're going to cut them, we're going to give you. It failed. I mean, all that work, all that talk, it was all for nothing. It failed. And, you know, a lot of people had hopes, and it failed because they don't get done what they're supposed to get done. They get done nothing good for the country. The only thing they're successful at is wasting money on the Green New Scam. And you know the number, Bob, the actual number is $93 trillion. That's what they want. And this was done by AOC plus 3. I said, oh, did you study the environment? No. They never even studied it. They just come up. They want to do things like no more cows and no windows in buildings. They have some wonderful plans for this country. Honestly, they're crazy, and they're really hurting our country badly. But I just want to say it's been an honor. I've had such great support from the Hispanic community and from the black community. The highest level ever, and there are those that say we'll end up breaking the 50% mark, which is really an incredible when you think that 10 years ago or 6 years ago, and even when I first ran, you didn't know me very well, and you got to know me well. And the second, we did great in 2020. We did better in 2020, frankly, than we did in 2016. Much better. We got millions more votes. But we did very well with the Hispanic, and now we're doing record numbers. And I think we're going to have a tremendous election. I think we're going to have an election like no other. I think this is going to be the biggest and most important election in the history of the country. And a big beneficiary will be the people in this room. They've been just so great. You know, Hispanic people have tremendous, they say you can't generalize, but I think you can. They have wonderful entrepreneurship, and they have, you have such energy. Just ease up a little bit, okay? Ease up. No, you have great ambition, you have great energy, very smart, and you really do. It's like natural entrepreneurs. That's why the small businesses in the country, I mean, they are largely the number of Hispanic Americans operating small businesses and big businesses too, very big businesses, running them for stockholders. So it's an incredible group of people. It's an honor to have you on my side. We are getting numbers of Hispanic Americans that nobody ever thought possible. And we're up in all of the polls. Well, it looks like we're leading just about everywhere now. We're leading I think all of the swing states that came out this morning. We're leading all of the swing states. And part of that is, she can't answer questions. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing. We can't have that. We had that 4 years ago, and we had that for the last 4 years, and we can't do that anymore. We're not going to survive as a country. We're in very dangerous shape. We're in very bad shape as a country. You look at all of the things that are happening that are so bad, and it's just something we can't take. So we are going to be with you. You've been with me. Get out and vote. And again, November 5th, I believe, is going to go down as maybe the most important day, I hope, right, Mr. Congressman? But I hope it will, because it'll show what we do, but it'll be the most important day in the history of the country. And, I said that with 2016, and I meant it, but this blows it away, because 2016, we had problems, but we didn't have this kind of a problem. We have a problem of survival of our country because we're run by very stupid and probably evil people, and we can't have it. So thank you very much, Bob. I hope that's a positive message. Is that a positive message? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.